Moritz has officially hit rock bottom. His friends are done with him. He's the CEO of a site that doesn't even exist, and he has zero clue how to code it back together. To make it worse, the Dutch dealers from Good Times are breathing down his neck, demanding he rebuild the site like nothing happened. So during a school trip to the woods, Moritz tries to reboot MyDrugs. But between the buggy code and his body going full drama queen with an allergic reaction, things go downhill fast. With the good time deadline creeping up and Moritz still having zero website, he hops on an air taxi to Rotterdam, pulls a bluff saying the site's done, but just needs a few days to secure it. Then he tries to throw 200,000 euros at Lenny for Candy Bay, but Lenny's like, nah. So Moritz hits up the Albanians for help, and they kidnap Lenny. With the Albanians backing him, Moritz proves to Lenny that he literally saved their life from Martin. Lenny finally realizes he's actually in danger and agrees to code the site, on one condition. It stays strictly between them. Meanwhile, a cop recovers up some files from Buba's old laptop and starts connecting dots to Moritz Zimmerman. He's convinced something shady's going on, but his boss doesn't care, doesn't listen. Back to Lenny and Moritz. They pull an all-nighter coding the site, just like the good old days. It's finally done. Moritz tries to pay Lenny, but Lenny hits him with the truth. You're not a CEO, bro. You're working for Good Times. You're replaceable. Then a cop shows up at Moritz's house trying to question him, but his sister starts a live stream and he bails. Later, Moritz's dad stops by this police officer. But once he realizes Moritz is being investigated, thinking it's about some weed he bought, he straight up steals the laptop and destroys it to protect him. On the other side, Kira and Dan find out Lenny coded MyDrugs for Moritz. They're pissed, but Lenny explains his life was on the line, Moritz's family, and he never wanted to sell drugs in the first place. He shuts down Candy Bar for good, but yeah, Lenny's cancer, it's getting way worse. Moritz starts spiraling, thinking he's losing control of Good Times, as if he ever really had it. So he hires a business consultant to help him feel like a real CEO. Meanwhile, Kira and Dan are trying to figure out how to pay for Lenny's therapy, because his pain is getting worse by the day. Moritz's first meeting with the consultant actually goes pretty well, so he brings him on as a full-time coach. But on day one, Beak straight up shoots him in the foot. Moritz loses it, starts throwing insults for a solid 5 minutes, then quits. Then someone starts blackmailing him, saying the cops know his name. It's that same officer who's been digging around. When Moritz finds out Lenny's in the hospital, he goes to visit him. But things go south when Kira gets way too reckless and ends up getting caught. Moritz pulls off a genius heist, stealing drugs from Good Times. But on the way back from Rotterdam, they almost get caught. Meanwhile, Lisa decides she wants to be a journalist and starts writing an expose on MyDrugs. Then, boom, Good Times' office gets raided thanks to Moritz tipping off the cops. Fritzy finds out about the whole operation and they all freak, until she says she just wants free pills. But when Dan finds out Moritz was carrying a gun, that's the last straw. He's done with them. They finally manage to raise enough money for Lenny's treatment. Huge relief. But then Moritz finds out what Lisa's really been up to this whole time. She's been secretly recording him and writing an article about him for her journalism dreams. Classic betrayal. Moritz, being Moritz, somehow guesses her cloud password and finds all the recordings. At their A-level graduation party, Fritzy spikes the drinks with ecstasy, and Moritz gets fully lit. While high out of his mind, he tells Lisa he gets how hard it is to land a journalism degree, and tells her she can totally use him for her article. But he overshares way too hard, and she freaks out. Next thing you know, she runs straight to Jens, aka his dad, aka a cop. Meanwhile, Dan apologizes to Lenny and Moritz for his earlier meltdown. Kira then drops a bomb. The cops arrested some random German tourists thinking they're from Good Times, but the real Dutch crew is still out there, and they barely manage to escape Martin. Lenny tells Moritz and Dan, and they try to lay low, but it's no use. Martin tracks them down. Turns out the Dutch knew about their plan the whole time. Now they want their money and the access codes to MyDrugs. Just when things are about to go full horror movie and Marlene's about to shoot Moritz, bam! Jens shows up and shoots her instead. Fritzy steps up and knocks out Martin. Absolute chaos. Turns out both Marlene and Beaky are dead. Jens shot them. Now the police are swarming the school and pretty much everyone who knew about MyDrugs is in hiding. Jens manages to pause the search for a bit to buy them time. The group debates what to do with Martin. They even vote on whether to kill him or not, and it ends in a tie. That's when Moritz finally confesses to Lenny. He never planned to stop. His real plan? Make Martin work for him and keep the empire going no matter what. Everyone's done with him after that. They all walk away disgusted. Moritz frees Martin, calls the cops, and turns himself in. He gets locked up. Lenny gets cured. All his friends move on and start living normal lives. But Moritz? He gets his hands on a laptop, resets the BIOS, and just like that, he's back in business. Still running a drug empire from prison with Martin and the Albanians in his corner.